everyone. This is Ruby Powers with Powers Law Group, and we're recording this on November 6th, Wednesday, and also doing this live so that we can get this information out as soon as possible. So I'll present some information and then I'll take questions. So we're talking about debriefing the elections, the federal elections, and how that's going to impact immigration here in the United States. So let's go ahead and dive in. Board certified immigration attorney, law firm's 15 years old this month, and I've practiced during the first Trump administration. So we're recording, we're having this live on November 6th, so the day after I woke up at 7 a.m. East Central and saw the results because I know that they were kept coming in overnight. So right now, Trump has been declared the winner, and we have with 277 electoral votes. So with Kamala Harris having 224. So it was a 51% to 47.5. What we know is that Trump made immigration a huge part of his campaign, and it was a big part of his administration the first time. And so basically what we're going to be saying is if you have an attorney, make sure you're listening to what they're saying, the information, the newsletter or the social media, which is what we're doing, part of that as well. And if there's something that you think particularly affects your case, then have a consultation, have a check-in. But right now it's important to note that he's not the president yet, and that you wouldn't become the president until about January 20th or something like that, right around that middle of January. So we still have about 2 months to do as much as we can that's possible. So, and let's go over real quickly the Senate elections. The Republicans have 52 seats, so they gained 3 seats, and the Democrats have 42 seats. They lost 3 seats, so it's still really close. But Republicans will hold the control of the Senate, and that's really important to note because it could be that if they have the Republicans have the presidency and the Senate, and I believe it could be the House, then it's possible to be able to pass a lot more bills that are in their favor. Republicans will oversee the confirmation of the president's cabinet and the judicial nominations, which may include decisions impacting immigration courts and policies. Other considerations would be, and we're going to go into that a lot more, but as to things like processing times, asylum, work, Department of State, immigration court under Department of Justice, the freedom of judges to make decisions, and the numbers of the cases they have to process, ICE, CBP, pretty much a lot of things. And so increased law enforcement. And one of the other things that was mentioned in the campaign was mass deportation, which we've talked a lot about in different videos. And really, I don't think a lot of that is feasible, but reopening administratively closed cases, putting people in court that normally wouldn't necessarily be sent to court under the Biden administration. And so in the House elections, we're seeing the Republicans having 204 seats, with Democrats having 180. The majority needed is 218, and but the Republicans have flipped 5 seats and Democrats flipped 2. So it's looking like the Republicans will have the presidency, the Senate, and the House from what we're seeing at this moment. We need to continue to monitor some of those results that are coming in, but it will make it easier to pass laws that could be anti-immigrant, and other things as well that aren't related to immigration. On the local state elections, there's possibility to have more laws that impact immigration or benefits to immigrants, like in-state tuition or we've had SB4 here in Texas. There could be also things that affect like family law, criminal law, those other things. In In Texas, it's predominantly Republican in most parts, except for the cities. And so, we'll still monitor the state legislature that'll be in session this coming year, meeting in January, about what changes they would make. Because we've seen them, even though it's a state law, find ways to try to impact immigration, which is federal. So I think overall, and I'll take questions shortly, is that, staying informed. So finding the TikTok page, Powers Immigration Lawyer, to YouTube, to newsletter, to Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Have a few ways and the resources that you're monitoring on a regular basis. If you haven't filed for something and you might be eligible, then make sure you've had a consultation to see and what you're eligible for. And things change. If you were sitting on something because different things were going on in life and you were putting it on hold, I would say this is the time to have that consultation to see what you might be eligible for. Check to see what status you know your status that you have, when the expiration is, and also evaluating whether or not it's at potential risk. DACA is being reviewed by the Fifth Circuit still, and very likely it's going to go to the Supreme Court. TPS was something that the Trump administration was always trying to get rid of. So there's a lot of people who have TPS or new applications like Venezuela, Ukraine, Afghan, that have been opened up the last few years. Those could potentially, but all TPS could be at risk at some point. And just, I'd say, having a connection with an immigration firm that you trust, and also making sure you're monitoring the information. Because right now, one of our biggest goals is to try to file as many cases as we can in the next couple of months, for those who had been in the pipeline, but also to keep our existing clients and the community out there as informed as possible. So the good thing here at Powers Law Group is that we've gone, I've been practicing 16 years, the firm's 15 years old. A lot of my team were cross-trained. We've reviewed, we've seen a lot of complicated cases. We've gone through a Trump administration. So we're going to do the best we can with what we have, and do that advocacy. So just in closing, as we continue to be there as a resource for you, you can reach us at 713-589-2085. Contact at rubypowerslaw.com. You see our website, rubypowerslaw.com. And what important to note, he's not the president yet. The changes haven't gone into effect yet. We still have a couple of months. But things that I think are going to be at issue would be DACA, TPS, prosecutorial discretion, immigration court, the parole in place, the keeping families together, is pretty much, I think, at risk of not being able to go forward. Again, so these are things that, from my experience under Trump 1.0, and preparing for Trump 2.0, things that we need to be considering. But this whole last few years, we've been trying to do as much as we can for motions to reopen, prosecutorial discretion, getting cases moved forward, asylum interviews, filing mandamuses. We've been doing a lot of that already, and filing cases that might normally not get approved under certain circumstances. We've also focused a lot on naturalization for a lot of our clients and getting them to the finish line and securing that status. So, we're able to be reached out the different social media platforms, and we are going to continue to have webinars throughout the month, and on different topics, and we want to be a resource for you. But thank you so much for watching, and now I'm going to take questions. But really staying in touch with us over our newsletter, our social media is the best way, and knowing that we're going to be trying to give you as much up-to-date information as possible.